Um, as I said in the first video, I've been a fan since Gretzky was traded over from the St. Louis Blues. My dad was a big Gretzky guy. Grew up watching the Rangers, and that's where it began. 96, 97, I think, was the season. Um, I always said I was a fan since 97. I think it might have even been a fan since 96. That's when he got traded. But, anyways, I was here to see Dan Blackburn. I was here to see Leach get traded, I think, to Toronto. I actually met Brian Leach. He signed one of my hats. Uh, I've been through the ups and downs. Tom Rennie, we had 10 years of downs, and then Yager came in after the lockout, which seemed to be a catalyst in, getting the Rangers back in gear here. I'm going to start. I'm going to recap Game 2 in Ottawa. That's what I'm trying to do until yesterday's home opener, or not yesterday's, but last game's home opener, until we win a Stanley Cup is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to check in and recap the game. And if you care about the Rangers and you want to hear my opinions on the game and what I think and like the dynamics going on with the team, this might be something you want to check out once in a while. We're going to start this with a story that happened, something that happened. When I was watching the Rangers, my wife is a little Armenian girl, and she took a liking to Zuccarello, Matt Zuccarello. We all have taken a liking to Matt Zuccarello. She was her favorite player. She identified with him. He was a fan favorite. Everyone loved Zuccarello. I love Zuccarello. I have his jersey over here. I have it. Dick's had a sale when he got traded, and I jumped on it. So last year I warned her. I said, hey, Zuccarello might be traded at the deadline, so prepare yourself for that to happen. And she was a little sad. When we go to the games, that's her favorite player. So in the off season, Zuccarello signs with Minnesota. Now, my wife's company sent her to Minnesota for some job training in maybe July or something, one of the summer months. And she loved it. She loved the city of Minnesota, which is fine. I kind of believe that she may not love it so much in the winter, but she came back and loved the city. She does, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Zuccarello signs thereafter. She says, oh my God, Minnesota, there's a connection. Fine. Now, what's not fine is the other day, I had a package arrive to my door. Now, I didn't order anything. I'm wondering what this package is. So I open it, and it is a Minnesota Wild t-shirt ordered from Amazon. That's not allowed. You cannot order a Minnesota Wild t-shirt because you like the t-shirt and you want to wear a Minnesota Wild t-shirt. I sent it back. I returned it. As any Ranger fan would do, it's not allowed. It's just like you got to pick your battles in marriage, and that is where the battle line was drawn. It's just inappropriate. We sent it back. I get it. You know what? I may check out Minnesota Wild. I may check out the home opener. And they have at least 3 road games in a row. I may want to see Zook. I may want to see Zook get introduced. Excuse me. I may want to see Zook get introduced as a Wild. I like Zook. But you can't rock a Minnesota Wild t-shirt. I even went so far to say, honey, maybe try a Minnesota North Stars shirt. I was flirting with the idea of saying, hun, maybe you can get a Minnesota North Stars shirt because that's kind of a novelty. That's like a classic, like a Quebec Nordiques, a Hartford Whalers type situation where it's like it's almost like a neutral hockey fan type thing. Anyways. So we sent it back. I just don't understand. You can get a Minnesota Timberwolves. You can get the football team out there. There's a Vikings team. There's the North Stars. There's no need. It just, anyways, just start that off. I feel like a couple of Ranger fans out there might appreciate it. Now, game 2 against Ottawa. I will concede this. I'm a big mixed martial arts fan, so I was watching the UFC in Australia at the same time. So at one point, I had the Yankees on the big screen or the TV, and then I had my computer. I had the Rangers, and then the Yankees on my computer, or the UFC on my computer. Then eventually I didn't put my entire attention to game 2. It was too busy. I tried keeping an eye on it, and I have my notes that I take because I do UFC breakdowns, and the notes help you use your time efficiently when you do that. But this channel is about consistency until we win the Stanley Cup. I watch the extended highlights, and I have a couple of things that point out to me that I will absolutely that feel like that are talking points amongst Ranger fans, at least in my opinion. The first thing I want to say is the Rangers looks like they scored at least 2 power play goals, and that seam pass or the cross ice pass seems to be effective. And last year, and 11 years prior at least, that doesn't seem to work. One of the problems of the Rangers over the years is our power play. And I said last video, in MMA, if you can't wrestle, you can't fight. You get these kickboxers that come over there fighting a wrestler. The wrestler will put you on the back, and that's a losing position in MMA. If you don't have a good power play, then you can't win. Teams in the playoffs, and I'm sure someone can think of a exception that proves the rule, but teams in the playoffs put teams away on the power play. The Rangers have had a lot trouble. That game we played with Matt Karkner on Brian Boyle, he started the game off, he had a 5-minute major, and all the Ranger fans were upset. But you know what? I don't know what else you want. Matt Karkner comes over and just attacks Brian Boyle. We have a 5-minute major, and you got a game misconduct. Matt Karkner is not in the game anymore. You got a game. There's nothing. The only thing you can do, the ref didn't do anything wrong. What you need to do is score a goal in the power play. You have a 5-minute power play. Put that team away. And the Rangers just have had a trouble doing that. But the addition of Artemi Panarin, and I didn't think this was, when we signed him, I wasn't enamored with he's going to be this gigantic difference maker. But he is. On that power play, on that offside hash wing, where he is making seam passes and he's doing one-timers, he's a difference maker. He is a big difference maker for the Rangers. And obviously the Rangers are not going to score 2 power play goals a game, but I'll tell you what, the first 2 games of the season, you got at least 4 power play goals. That's a sight for sore eyes for Ranger fans. And I do think our power play looks good. I think Trouba's getting the puck on net with bodies in front. And I think Mika is finding Artemi Panarin with that seam pass, that one-timer where the goalie's moving and the puck has a higher probability of going in because the goalie's not set. And I like the way that Mika is finding Artemi Panarin with that seam pass. Now, this one, I was watching that game live when I marked that down. But the next thing I got this from the extended highlights, which is not which is something I noticed in the first game, and something I'm going to continue to notice, or going to continue to look at, is Adam Fox on defense. He didn't look great defensively. He looked like he got beat in causing a turnover that caused a scoring chance going the other way. And I'm just keeping an eye on it. Adam Fox, I want him to be here. It was a great signing. It's awesome that New York is taking advantage. It seems like New York, a lot of the Rangers haven't had good draft picks because we trade them away to get guys like Eric Staal and, whatever. We all know. But it's nice. You can see that we are kind of compensating by signing guys like Kevin Hayes, signing guys like Jimmy Vesey. These guys that are kind of higher draft picks or would be that have stayed, stayed 4 years in college and have become free agents. And the New York Rangers are a very attractive location for these guys, and it's really nice to see the Rangers getting some of these guys. And Adam Fox is obviously one of those guys. I'm just keeping an eye on him defensively, and just keeping an eye on it. All right, Staal, Tony. This is another one I saw where Staal got caught up ice, and then Tony's out of position, and then we got I think it might have even been like Lias Anderson or something, like playing defense, and a guy coming in on the blue line like throws a backhand sauce or something to another guy, like a seam pass, and he goes in on like a breakaway, gets a really good scoring chance. And this is something I noticed in the first game, is that if you watched my other video I made, there was a whole thing about Tony DeAngelo getting beat 3 times. And granted this is just highlights, but you can't hide the fact that when you give up a scoring chance like that and you're on the ice, it's starting to become a trend that I'm also keeping an eye on, is just Staal Tony DeAngelo, defensively. I know Tony's here. He has fantastic puck possession numbers, and he helps get the puck out of the zone. That's his biggest attribute is his passing. And I like Tony a lot. He got a bad rap for saying he may or may not have called one of his teammates a bad word in juniors. I don't really care. I did a lot of dumb stuff when I was 17 years old. I'm not going to hold that against Tony for 5 years later. He came to New York, and he has been nothing but a model citizen. He's been nothing but a good New York Ranger that has showed nothing but showing up to practice, try to get better, and had literally a career year here last year. So I'm rooting for him. I like him a lot. But I seems to be noticing a lot of defensive struggles with Tony, and that's Tony and Staal pairing. Marc Staal, I went over this last time. Just awesome to see such a guy who was kind of went from disliked, and now he's kind of like a cult fan favorite. Marc Staal is a fan favorite, and I use the analogy of if a Ranger fan was I'm thinking about getting a jersey this year, whose jersey should I get? And to me, a jersey is you want a guy who's gonna be here for a while, and you want a guy who's a significant part of the franchise's history. Let's say a Ranger fan has Henrik Lundqvist. You wouldn't get too many names down before I would think, you know what, you should get a Marc Staal jersey, because Marc Staal has spent his entire career here, and if you get a Peter Pruka jersey, I have a Peter Pruka jersey shirt when I went to the game when I was a kid. But he's kind of not too many people know him. When you buy a jersey, you want a guy who's staying with the franchise for a while. And I just like seeing that Marc Staal is now a fan favorite. He went from being a disliked player because of his salary cap, his skill level. He obviously got injured, and he had that eye injury. His brother Eric, gave him a concussion that put him out for a while. But I just think it's cool, man. His salary cap is obviously something that's hurting us a little bit, but I like that he's kind of a fan favorite. Now, I guess I'm burying the lead here by saying Mika had 3 goals and was the superstar of the game, and I think he had an assist, so he must have had 4 points. We scored 4 goals. Man, this kid is if you watch my last video, let's just say his tips are becoming less blonde. This guy is just coming out like a bat out of hell, man. And I love it. Again, I didn't watch the game. I just know that I didn't watch the second and third period. But obviously, I saw his goals and his highlights, and when we traded Derek Brassard for this kid, my gut said that's an awesome trade. And maybe some of you guys out there really like Derek Brassard. I didn't particularly love him. I thought he was a good player, but I didn't particularly love him, and I was really excited about this younger Swedish kid coming in from Ottawa, and this kid is fantastic. There's a lot of talk about him being the captain of the team, and there's also some talk about Lundqvist being the captain of the team. You know what? I don't want my goalie to be a captain, and specifically Lundqvist. Let's think of who Lundqvist is at his best in the playoffs. Like, Lundqvist is a psycho in the best way possible. Like, internally focused, minds his own business, focuses on himself, isolated, and just play. Goalie is an isolated position, and Hank is self-focused on himself. I don't necessarily think putting a C on Hank's jersey is going to do him any favors. Like, we need Hank focused, playing his game, and I kind of like a captain like on the bench with the team, not looking at this guy over here who's the captain. Hey, do you got any leadership over there, bud? Like, I don't know. I like a captain as a skater, and I'm also not like, who cares if we don't have a captain? Like, it's not that big a deal. We didn't have a captain last year. A lot of teams don't have captains. Like, I'm okay with Mika. Look at Austin Matthews last year. No one was giving him the A. No one was rushing to give him the captaincy. I think even before Tavares was there, like, he needs to focus on being the best player in the league. That's what Babcock probably told Austin Matthews, and that's the exact same thing that I want to see with Mika. Like, go be the best player in the league. Go be a number one center. Go be a number one center that eventually the conversation is, how are we going to pay you? Go be that player. So I don't really mind him not having the captaincy. I'm just excited to watch him play. I don't care if he gets it, then later in the year, like, awesome. Like, he has shown all the qualities of saying he is the leader of this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in January they announce Mika the captain. But I'm okay with not having a captain anyway. What else did I want to talk about? Buchnevich. I'm not a Buchnevich guy. I think excuse me. I think he's playing a wonderful role. Like Vlad Nemestikov, when he was playing with Stammer and Kucherov in Tampa, you need that third guy who's, like, not going to hold the lineup, who's also a threat, but also will allow your skill, like, some of your higher skilled players to be in your second and third line. And I feel like he's a wonderful. He's been playing wonderfully on that first line, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I just hope he keeps it there. Like, I hope they keep producing. That line has been fantastic, and I hope he keeps it up. I think that's basically all I want to say. 2-0, good win in Ottawa. Ottawa's a team, a young team that, isn't expected to do well this year. I don't think that Brady Tkachuk guy is a really good player. But they got a lot of young guys. They got I forget the new defenseman. They just Thomas Chabot. They just signed him for a big deal, and they got that new young kid. I forget his name. They traded him for it's like he's another Swedish defenseman, I think, and he's a fantastic player. So, like, Ottawa is going to they got a lot of young talent, and obviously their Melnick owner doesn't want to pay anyone, but what I'm trying to say is they're a young team, and it's nice to see Rangers beating teams like this. Like, pretty, 4-1 is a significant win. But all right, so I'm gonna keep doing these for each game until we win the Stanley Cup. So hopefully it'll be this year.